Welcome to the lunation situation. We are going to talk about the new moon in Virgo that's upcoming September 15th, occurring at 1 o'clock at night and 39 minutes GMT. You can adjust that for your local time. Now, new moons are very important for wish fulfillment, setting new intentions, and really track them the coming 6 months to see what flourishes and what you can work towards very dedicatedly, because this is a new moon occurring in the sign of Virgo, which is a very determined, hardworking, efficient sign that can make things really happen. And it occurs at 21 degrees of Virgo in 58 minutes, and we round that up to 22 degrees of Virgo. So you can look where 22 degrees of Virgo falls in your chart to see which area is affected during this new moon and where you could, in that area, potentially see results in the coming 6 months. Below this video, you can find a very brief description of what the houses in astrology stand for, just to get a reminder of what is being sort of illuminated here. Well, a new moon is always, of course, a fresh start, new, exciting energies coming in, and a really new chapter that can unfold for you. That's why it is an excellent time to write down your wishes, to be really clear on your goals and what you want to achieve, what you want to accomplish the coming 6 months, because a new moon always starts a 6-month cycle, okay? So what is the sign of Virgo about? Well, Virgo is the second earth sign. So as I said, it's the sign that makes things happen. It's where you really materialize practical stuff in your life. It's very realistic, very down to earth, and it's all about efficiency, improving. Virgo has that speciality where it can really look at the nitty-gritty of it all, and really therefore is excellent in organization and ordering. It's great at planning, and this is an excellent time to even make lists of what you want to accomplish. And Virgo is, the 6th house in astrology, which is all about work, your daily routines, and it's also about health and nutrition and exercise, the well-being and the effort you put in between your mind and body connection, okay? So the 6th house can also be alternative medicine. Well-being overall, mentally and physically, will be really important in Virgo. And it's also all about purification, doing it natural, clean, good for you. In a nutshell, it's about self-care, right? It's also about cleanup, clean up your life physically, in your body, but also your environment. This is an excellent time to actually clean out your house, clean out your closets, clean out those spaces that are less used or most used, declutter your life. And this new moon is an excellent moment for that. Also to allow, to receive that new energy from this new moon, being able to come into your environment, because there's now space if you clean up. So with the new moon in Virgo, you can really increase your productivity, being able to get things done, to accomplish, but also to reduce and to simplify your life, to really evaluate and refine and improve your overall life, okay? Virgo is also, as I said, the 2nd earth sign, so it's definitely where we connect to nature, and this is, excellent for literal harvest time. And soon we will enter, the autumn season, 7 days or so after this lunation. So not only nature in that sense, but also animals. Virgo is also all about pets. It can even, be all about agriculture as well. So hence the harvest part. To me, Virgo is really related to harvest. So I guess that's a question you can really ask with this new moon intention. What are you ready to harvest in the coming 6 months? So this is where you plant the seeds, right, with this new moon, to really focus on what is really important for you now and what you want to see as a physical manifestation, something tangible, realistic in your life. And it also means that realistically it's something you have to work for, right? It's something you have to actually do things for, put in the effort to have the accomplishment, to see it in your real day-to-day life. And again, this is a perfect moment to increase, to improve your day-to-day life. And this is health, as I said, nutrition and exercise and supplements and whatever contributes to your health, but also mental health and even spiritual health. So this is your daily practices where you can tune into yourself and like do meditation or your yoga or whatever fits for you to have a more of a balance between not only body and mind, but also spirit. I find this a very fascinating lunation, and there are a lot of asteroids involved. So if that's an interest of you, stay tuned. First of all, it's a beautiful geometric pattern is going on in the chart of this new moon. And it means that, first of all, the sun and moon are together in the sky, right? That's why we cannot really see the moon. It's black. It's because the sun can't shine its light on it, right? And this is in that darkness we plant the seeds, and that's a very fertile beginning. But right opposite the new moon, we find Neptune retrograde in Pisces. And as I said before, Neptune retrograde means there's actually more clarity. There's actually less illusions. There is a clearer sense of creation and imagination. So that element of creation and imagination, or through imagination being able to create, is a big topic with this new moon, right? It's just this opposition means that, Virgo is all about the practical, the what you see right in front of you. And Neptune in Pisces is right opposite that. It's the unseen, it's the spiritual life. It's beyond this earth, whereas Virgo is very much about the earth, right? So that's obviously a bit of a challenge, a bit of an opposition here. And then again, Neptune is about removal and dissolvement. So there is that aspect where things might fall away in your life with this new moon. There might be a theme of some kind of an ending in the background. And it's related to, I believe, also that we're going to stumble into the autumn season, right? And it's also that logical, which is very Virgo, realization that, for some things to begin, some things need to end, right? So to get into that whole new cycle of starting fresh, fruitful beginnings, it means that we have to clear the soil of the old plants, old debris. We have to clean it out. I'm obviously referring to the actual natural process of moving into the autumn season, where your garden is going under a change, and you might have to take out all the stuff that's now dead and like it has come full circle and it's done, right? There are no more, your vegetables or your fruit are probably not going to produce anymore because we're moving slowly into the winter season, right? Or at least the summer crop, okay? So, and this is a symbolism of if there was anything that wasn't serving you anymore, you could feel with this new moon that it's being removed. Even though this is an opposition, I feel that whatever is being removed around this time will kind of feel good. And I suppose the reason for that is because we're able to see the bigger picture. And when you're able to do that, it's more easy to accept what is being removed, right? What is ending. The reason for that is what I said. It's making a beautiful geometrical pattern, this relationship with the new moon and Neptune. It's actually forming a kite pattern. And that means, first of all, that there is an Earth grand trine going on. And this is really lovely, okay? So at the base of this kite, there is this grand Earth trine. And it's being made of the new moon. That's one point of it. The other point is Uranus in Taurus, who's retrograde. And then the other point of the triangle is Pluto, retrograde in Capricorn. Now, first of all, a grand Earth trine means that you are grounding in something solid into your life, okay? Something real, tangible, material. This is a profound manifestation. And this is a new reality that you can really start to live. But when we look at the details of this grand Earth trine, there are elements that make it less solidifying, and that is obviously Uranus, first of all, because Uranus is very destabilizing. And it's very, it creates the chaos and surprises that are very unexpected, so you don't really know what to do with it. They can often feel like breakdowns, but the ultimate way is, of course, to break through. So I would say that since Uranus is about the epiphanies, the awakening, and the higher perspective, there is a new realization that's going on here. And the realization is probably that you have to do things differently, and you have to do it uniquely, fitting to your own desires and needs. And this raises again that question that is on the table since at least 18 months, and that is, what matters to you? What is important to you? And that is actually materialistic because this is occurring in Taurus. So, what is absolutely important for your survival? What is your basic needs, not only, in food, shelter, and like the basic things a human being needs, but also what are your basic needs in the sense that to live a good life, to have pleasure, and your senses being met, and this is really being realistic about it, taking definitely the natural approach, the simple life but a good life, and Uranus is just breaking it free, that it's not what you thought or expected or what is being told, but that this is a very different way of doing the simple good life. And that you need to ask your own personal questions to determine what this is for you. And then the other point of that grand Earth trine is Pluto, which is also quite destabilizing, right? I mean, it's about destruction and getting rid of the old and the stuff that needs to die off because it has completed its process, right? And it's about discovering some really deep, intense truths that are not maybe that easy to swallow. And you know, Pluto in Capricorn is all about systematic change, change in rulership, change in hierarchy, even potentially rules and regulations. So this new moon is gonna give all of us intense changes into our physical world. Now, normally a trine is very lovely, harmonious, and just easygoing. But Pluto and Uranus are not. I would say the advantage here is that they are retrograde, so they are not in full power. The energy is more internal. So maybe this is an internal revolution of breaking the barriers within yourself to create a definite, very unique way of living your life of fulfillment. And truly going after, in that sense, with ease, because once you know what it is, this energy opens the path for you to actually go and do it and accomplish. Or at least plant the seeds and have the 6-month process of, you know, energetic support here for that accomplishment. So in a way, it is very much about personally, you know, right, breaking through and having a radical new vision for your life. Very much about liberation, materialistically, physically, mentally, practically free. But on the other hand, this might signal some big changes in our material world. So I feel this could actually bring up some disruptions. Collectively, I feel this could be an indication of, you know, 6 months of a lot of endings, truly things changing. And maybe for the first time, we're actually being able to see it. You know, energetically, there has been a long period of changes in the air, but maybe now we're able to see it like in a tangible way, right? We can touch it now. We can see it now. It's being grounded into this reality now. All these mega energetic changes that have been going on for the last couple of years quite intensely, right? So this is the base of that kite. And the kite is pointing to, the apex is towards Neptune retrograde in Pisces at 26 degrees. This means that that's the place and position where this kite takes off. So the Neptune gives us insight into where it all is going to, where it all is flowing to, where the ultimate achievement lies. And that's going to be a bit woo-woo because Neptune in Pisces is all about spirituality, is all about massive connection to all there is. So this is understanding the divine perspective that there is life after death, and that is quite even as important as the life you're living now. And as I say, that has a consequence on how you live your life. And that means practicing quite evolved expressions of healing, which means forgiveness, unconditional love, compassion, empathy, and a real strong connection to your intuition, and that means ultimately the divine source. And there, you know, I feel you're free to do that in whatever way that feels right for you. But I would say that the basicness of it is some form of silence to be able to tap into the intuition and to the energy that all there is, right? To your spirit guides, your angels, whatever, to the universe, to God, to the divine, to the source. And, silence, but also prayer, it's very powerful and it enhances your connection to all there is. And also, obviously, eases your life and can help you manifest. And also, yeah, the silence can be meditation or even like creative outlets, art. You can use divination tools or your dream life, your dream world, to connect furthermore. So it seems that there needs to be a massive spiritual upgrade, and that this new moon is going to make us fly into that direction, push us towards it. And there are more indicators in this chart that is confirming this, especially through asteroids. I'm going to go into that a little later. So that's basically what the aspects of this moon in the chart. Then we look at the rulership, which is Mercury. Virgo is ruled by Mercury. Mercury is currently retrograde in this chart, but the same day, September 15th, Mercury is going to go direct. So in a way, it's actually stationed, right, as they say. So it's an S. And that means that Mercury is actually there's huge momentum and there's quite some power to Mercury. Mercury is obviously at home in Virgo, so kind of enhances this new moon energy. It means that our mind is very preoccupied with these Virgo energies of wanting to improve our lives, wanting to have more self-care, evaluating how our mind is able to improve and our lives and get things done, and doing it more efficiently. So we've been in this whole process of bettering ourselves in all these areas. And, after today, September 15th, Mercury is direct again. And there's, of course, always a post-shadow period. So, it will build up its strength. But there is this weird momentum with this new moon. And it's opposite Saturn retrograde in Pisces. So this is like a push-pull between, again, the mental aspects of life, and then Saturn being focusing more about the emotional and spiritual side of life. So the discomfort comes from that it's kind of like opposite interests. And, it's kind of tempering the Mercury a bit, that Saturn, right? It's sobering up, and in a way it's good, actually. It's just bringing a very realistic view on all of it, on the emotions. It's bringing emotional maturity. It's bringing, as I said, spiritual understanding and the need for spiritual practices. Saturn is doing that. Maybe the mind feels awkward integrating that and has some difficulty with that, because, how do you plan spirituality? How do you improve that and like make spirituality or your emotional world more efficient? It's weird. Like it doesn't work that way, right? But what does work or increase the efficiency of all those things, like emotional world and spiritual world, is just doing it daily. And that's very Virgo again. So the integration between Mercury and Virgo stationed and Saturn in Pisces is that there's actually a beautiful mix of them, because Saturn is rules Capricorn and earth signs, very realistic. So is Mercury in Virgo. So there is actually a very similarity. The integration is just looking at the similarities and incorporating that. And as I said, that's routine, that's focus, that's dedication, and just doing it, okay? And the integration here is really between body, mind, spirit. So there's an elevation of perspective, and that's the challenge. Being able to look beyond just your 3D earth reality. And that's not something Mercury is very much capable of. It's focused here, it's close to Earth, so it's the mental process is here. And Saturn is now helping us evolve beyond that. So that's the difficulty here. And it also means that, you know, as this is all about also commitments, agreements, contracts, communication, we might not have a great detailed view of these things. So I think the Mercury retrograde adagio is applying for this situation, where even though it's stationed and it's powerful mentally, not a very great time to start something new or to sign something, because I feel that this energy might overlook some details because it's moving into a higher perspective, and that's a challenging thing in itself. So the normal strength of Mercury in Virgo, seeing all the details and being really good with, you know, writing and communication and contracts and all that, is lessened, is delayed by Saturn, is there's something bigger going on. And if you can, I would hold off on the nitty-gritty part of life. Now we get to the interesting part, and that is actually in the background of this new moon, okay? So it's like backdrop energy. And this is where the asteroids come in, right? So first of all, we have a square between Jupiter retrograde in Taurus, and it's squaring with Venus in Leo, 14 degrees, 15 degrees-ish. This is interesting because now Venus is direct, right? It has gone direct September 4th, which is like approximately 10 days before this lunation. Still means that Venus is in post shadow, so she's not her strongest, she's not at her best, but she's direct, okay? And this is part of that Venus retrograde theme because she has squared Jupiter before, when she was retrograde, right? So this means that now, after having this immense deep transformation, massive reviewment, reevaluation, now she's able to see more clearly and understand her retrograde messages, right? Now, the square between Jupiter and Venus normally indicates overindulgence, overdoing it, excess, right? Even potential hedonism and just overeating, overbuying, overspending. So that's something to be careful of. We might definitely have an increased appetite, but also an increased desire to use some kind of creativity and art as well. But you know, there might be a very uncomfortable energy here. And again, you know, squares are very much about attention. They want our attention, right? So that's the discomfort. So what's going on here? Well, it's about having more wisdom about now what's in our hearts, what we really want, And we're now able to express it more, okay? You know, as Jupiter is also about fortune and luck and blessings and protection, there is now a really big call to do it, to express those Venus Leo themes that you've been going over for the last 40-ish days this summer, right? So now there is this push to express and to follow these lessons that you learned about the heart and your love life and the need for romance, the need for more fun, joy, creative expression, and tapping into a wilder side of yourself, right? Being more unapologetic and fierce and courageous. And like style improvements and just shining more in your life, right? And Jupiter is just enhancing this. It's like, I'm gonna bless you if you do this. And I feel the blessing comes in the asteroid because Venus here is conjunct Juno at 15 degrees of Leo. So Venus and Juno together is all about partnership, relationships, commitment. So this is a heart commitment. This is a commitment to yourself, to your passions, to being committed to have more joy in your life, to be real and expressive with who you are, to stand fully in your light, to shine that, and to, you know, as I said, to really follow the heart. And that means all kinds of ways. But in Juno, it means that you follow your heart with partnership. And if you follow Jupiter's call, which is making sure that it feels good, making sure that it brings you pleasure, okay, that it touches all the 5 senses that you have, that it feels good, and that there is like a realistic element to it, like, you know, it's a real committed situation, there's loyalty, and then there is this Jupiterian blessing. So this is quite interesting for relationships, to really ground in a committed, heartfelt, heartwarming, pure partnership. Yeah. Then the next asteroid involvement is the most interesting, I find. While creating my astrology course for 2023, I have a course that I create every year to be able to, you know, explain to you the basic big topics that we will encounter astrologically. It's super interesting. I make very beautiful videos, very educational, and you know, it's like a weather report, but then astrologically, energetically, right? And you can really track it, write down the dates in your journal or agenda or whatever, and daily planner or what so, and really follow the energies throughout the year. And you can see for yourself how it affects us, right? Well, I obviously have a new one for 2024. It will be out, you know, before the end of this year. So if you're interested in that, below this video, there is an email address and you can write to it if you're interested to follow the astrology course for 2024. It will be easy to follow, just a couple of videos, and it will not be expensive, okay? Just so that you know. So in that course, when I saw that the North Node was entering Aries, I was like, it's gonna meet with Eris. And Eris is an asteroid. Well, actually, it's not an asteroid. It's a dwarf planet, okay? She's actually just the same size as Pluto, which makes her the feminine equivalent of Pluto, not only in size and all that and where she is in the sky, but also symbolically, kind of. And Eris is this big force, okay? She represents a sort of a dark feminine, and she is the goddess of discord, of strife, of chaos. You know, it's all about expressing that anger. Aries brings forth the anger. And it is said, if you read about Aries, that there is chaos in truth, which describes the Aries energy very well. You know, anger is a very powerful expression and often denied for feminine energies, right? And I feel that that is, you know, the power of symbolism lies in that. You know how they call it dark feminine? It just means that it's rejected and denied, right? You know, anger in women, for women, the ability to express anger is villainized, right? Is denied. And over time, indeed, women have lost the courage, the need to be liked, the over need for harmony has kept the feminine energy from tapping into that sacred rage, I call, and the importance to express anger and rage. You know, it's just crazy that that is demonized, and that, you know, an angry lady is a crazy lady, that there is an evilness or bitchiness to that energy. So Aries, I feel, represents that suppressed anger that comes out, like, in the symbolism, it's repressed. That's why she's demonized. She's seen as a demon. She's seen as like all these very negative aspects of being evil, of being harsh, of creating chaos and disorder, overall trouble, and that she's just overconfident, manipulative, and cunning. All these very negative traits, where actually Aries represents the ability to fight, right? She's a fighter, and it's her strength, and that she is very much against the patriarchal system. That's what she's challenging, and that's why she's demonized, and that's why she is seen as an evil energy. Because it rivals the overall agenda, right? Of course, it is therefore not a coincidence that she's currently squaring Pluto in Capricorn, which is, you know, which is bringing an end to the patriarchal society anyway. It's bringing up the darkness of the patriarchal society. And this is where finally the anger and the fighter spirit of Aries is being able to come forth. You know, the feminine rage is being able to express itself, being less afraid of being demonized and being negative, right? That this is a very important, that there's an important need for this. You know, she is known as sort of the patron saint of chaotic creation. She sees the world as a place of disorder, right? A place of chaos, and that is the truth. That is her truth. And she's fighting, actually, the chaos and the disorder, by naming it, by showing it, by expressing it. And I found this really interesting passage on Wikipedia, actually. This is sort of a quote that you could expect from her, okay? So Aries says, "I am chaos. I am the chaos where artists and scientists get their rhythms from. The spirit from where your kids and clowns laugh in happy anarchy. I tell you that you are free." I think that's beautiful. That's like poetry. That's like anger poetry. I love it. She's known as sort of the backdrop to the Sleeping Beauty story, where she throws a golden apple towards the Olympian gods, and actually Olympian goddesses. And on the golden apple it says, "To the fairest of them all." And this starts a whole weird rivalry between the goddess women, like who's the more beautiful. They're competing and they're like doing these ridiculous stuff to be accepted as the most beautiful. And it is said that that is the start of the Trojan War, and that Aries kind of started it, right? But did she though? Did she? Like, how ridiculous that it's very symbolic, right? These myths, these ancient myths and stories about Greek culture and Roman whatever myths, they're just very symbolic. So as Eris is the bringer of actually truth, and that, you know, that is not always nice, right? And again, this is very the female version of Pluto, right? Pluto brings out truth too. That with this weird apple, she shows how ridiculous these so-called goddesses, these so superior evolved gods, right, can just battle amongst themselves for something so simple as beauty. I guess that explains the anger of Eris, because she's trying to show, like, look at how ridiculous the patriarchal society has made women, right? That the only battle that they go for is the battle for the most beautiful, the most desired. And, you know, I feel that she's just bringing up really uncomfortable truths, and she's trying to put the finger on deep feminine wounds. Her method is anger, mischievousness, and chaos. But it's just her way of showing that this is denied for the feminine power, and this is so important. So Aries is bringing up all this bubbling under the surface energies of the feminine. And the North Node conjunct Aries is going to flare up these really deep feminine emotions, and it's just gonna bring forth a lot of anger to the table. But it needs to be met, it needs to be faced. It's not something negative, it's not even dark. You know, it's dark when it's not faced, right? It's dark when it's denied, and it's frustrating when it's not taken serious. The North Node conjunct Aries is just gonna show a lot of this anger, and it's gonna show where it comes from and why and what's going on and how we need to express it, embody it, and take action on it. It's gonna be part of our purpose for the coming 6 months. This is a very destined cosmic energy, and it might also bring up a lot of crimes against females, feminine energy, suppressed feminine energies. So in a way, it's all about breaking through and you know, being able to express your own anger and how powerful, how strong, how needed that is. And on the other hand, it might be enhanced in the world, right? Where we might see crimes against women, and that it sort of flares the anger, that we are shown that we live in a disorderous, chaotic world. but we are when we deny the feminine needs and expressions. We deny the truth, and then we live in disorder, right? And the most fascinating part about this is the North Node is in Aries, right? And Eris is in Aries. Now, on the opposite side, we have the South Node. The South Node is then obviously in Libra. And the sister of Eris is called Harmonia or Concordia, okay? The opposite of Discordia. That's Eris. So her sister represents harmony and therefore kind of represents the South Node in Libra, which is, Libra is very much known for balance and harmony. Now, what I found really interesting is that they classify Eris as being, as a beingness, and that her sister, who's all about order and harmony, is being classified as a non-beingness. And this makes so much sense with the South Node part of the Libra energy, because it's all about the negative traits of Libra, right, that we need to leave behind. And there is a sense of that negative trait of Libra, that there is a non-beingness to it, where you almost don't know who you are because it's so important what other people think. The validation of other people can be so more important for like a negative Libra expression, right? And you care too much about other people's thoughts, other people's input, and that you're not able to make a lot of your own decisions about even the most simplest stuff, right? But that's just because there's a lack of knowing who you are, and there's a lack of standing in that individualness and being able to express yourself, prioritize yourself, right? So that was so interesting that they said that Eris is about being, and that her sister, Harmony, or aka Libra, is about non-being. And what is more interesting is that their brother, so the brother of Eris and Harmony, is called spirituality. And that just refers to this new moon chart, the kite towards Neptune in Pisces, which is all about spirituality. So I feel that the midpoint, sort of the mash between being, disorder, and chaos and anger, and that is beingness, right? And then the opposition of that is non-beingness, not knowing who you are, but then having harmony and order. Here comes the brother symbolically with a bigger perspective, and that is the spirituality. So this is, again, as I said, it's a symbolic explanation where the polarization between Eris and her sister is, right, it's a very opposite energy. And this happens in all kinds of dimensions, or especially in the third dimension, where you have an opposition, because that's the only way in the third D that you can understand, okay? It's, I don't know, we live in a dualistic world, right? That's the 3D element. So the polarity between Eris and Harmony just makes us able to understand. And then once you understand the polarity, which is right somewhere in the middle, you can overcome that polarity and step up into a higher perspective. And that means ultimately a different dimension. And it means that you're also enhancing from a simple way of looking at things to the spiritual perspective of things. And again, as I said, that's the whole point of this new moon, because it's pointing right at Neptune. This is where we fly off, right? So the spiritual part of our lives is really, really, really important. And it's having massive upgrades. You know, Neptune has been involved in so many aspects over the last lunations, you know, being highlighted almost continuously in some way or form, that I feel that this whole Aries component is actually like a code decoding this new moon, right? So I found that fascinating. Also, the South Node in Libra is having a conjunction, so being mashed together with the Ceres energy and Ceres and Haumea. These are, I guess, asteroids, but also actually Ceres is a dwarf planet, whatever. The importance is the energies, right? Unfortunately, in astronomy, I guess, you know, with the monopolization of NASA, right? Everybody listens to NASA. That whatever they decide is being called XYZ. It's XYZ, but actually, you know, a lot of these important things that are not actually asteroids, they're actually planets, but they're dwarf planets, and because they have feminine energies connected to them, they're kind of being lowered in importance, right? And that's, again, the whole Eris component, where it's like, I'm gonna swear, fuck that, okay? Like, Eris is like, fight, man, like, battle against this. Like, this is not okay. Why is the feminine energy always diminished? Why are we unheard? Like, why is the feminine energy always kept quiet and silent and little, right? Eris is big and is showing us, like, break free, knock a few things over, and make sure you're heard. Make sure that you have a say in what's going on, right? Don't be afraid to cause a little chaos or a little disruption. It's part of change, right? Nothing occurs out of nowhere. If you want things to get moving, you gotta shake things up to get it moving, and to not be afraid of that. That there is a necessary element of chaos to things. It's not a bad thing. Ceres represents the natural world. She's sort of like an earth goddess, and I guess in a way very much about fertility. It's about you know, agriculture, food. It's about nourishment. And Ceres, in a nutshell, personally, is about how you nurture yourself, how you take care of yourself, and how you do that for others. I guess in a way how you feel comfort. And then Haumea represents the natural world as well, the natural process, and it's also about fertility. It's about the natural law and about truth telling, the love for the natural world. And I think what's interesting with Haumea is that the truth telling component, which is also very much Eris, right, at the opposite side of this situation. So what we see here is some disharmony in law in the current natural world, and that there is a great need for the love for nature and nurturing yourself, but that conjunct the South Node in Libra means that things need to be released as well. You know, the things that are not helping us evolve anymore. And the only positive part about this is that the South Node always indicates important talents and skills. So we have a great understanding of the natural world. We can tap really into that. But that the truth might be that there is a lack of fertility, that there is a lack of natural, healthy relationships, that there is a lack of self-nourishment, and it's actually showing the lack of harmony, right? And these nodes are, on the one side with Ceres and Haumea, and on the other side, the North Node with Aries, is ultimately T-squaring Pluto in Capricorn. The strength of the situation is lessening, thank God. There's now a 2-degree orb. It's not literal anymore. It's not exact anymore. We had a T-square to the nodes that was almost exact for a while. And that creates a lot of discomfort, a lot of heaviness in the energy, okay? Massive transformations are needed, and is being pushed upon us. Truth is coming out. It's hella uncomfortable, and it's a crumbling of systems, of the reality of this world as we've known it. It's the crumbling of the patriarchal society. That is a good thing. And Eris is just helping, right, to break us through all of that, to demand a different reality. And it just means that a lot of this in the South Node needs to change as well, and that there is not a lot of harmony currently. And there isn't, right? Look around you. I mean, nature is beautiful, but how are we making it? How are we making our lives to be? And it's not necessarily a personal thing, although you could always ask yourself, am I contributing in a good way, in a healthy way, in a loving way? There are a lot of problems going on in this world, and they are not little. And these problems, if you understand energy, you understand that everything is interrelated. We are connected, right, energetically. It's just how energy works. Quantum energy proves it scientifically, right? And to me, it means that if there is a war going on in this world with Syria and like Africa and who knows wherever, right? If children have to, in this day and age, still have to work in factories because of poverty, because of hunger, in this abundant, fertile, natural world is ridiculous, because there's food everywhere. Trust me. I live in Europe, and even here, Northern Europe, which is, I suppose, in a way, the least fertile ground in this world, there's still herbs and like vegetables and even meat, right, abundantly available in nature. There is no reason for hunger. There's no reason for hunger in this world. It makes no sense, okay? To me, it's an illusion. It's a lie. I mean, doesn't mean that people aren't hungry. They are, unfortunately. But they are kept hungry for several reasons, okay? It's not natural. And I think when there is so much discomfort going on in the world, when there are people really suffering, like day-to-day suffering and hungry and scared and hurt and fearful, then how in the hell are other people going to be happy? It's not possible. Yeah? So if you want to live a good life and have happiness and joy and love, we need to address the fact that many people on this world are suffering. And to me, as an energetic law, when people are suffering, it's impossible for you to be having this wonderful emotional life. You know what I mean? And this situation with the North Node in Aries and still this T-square to Pluto is showing that we need to understand this. That things are crumbling. There's a need for things to crumble. But unfortunately, in this world where, like Eris says, the truth is chaos. Chaos is the truth. Disorder is the truth. What we could actually see going on means more struggle, more conflict, more war, more problems. So that's also in the background of this new moon. So, and maybe again, this is an example of how polarity works here in this world. How actually this new moon itself is making beautiful, lovely, sacred geometry patterns of hope and spirituality and divineness, and therefore higher energies, higher vibrations and frequencies. Okay, we are going through an energetic upgrade for sure, but the flip side of that same story means that all this shit is coming up too, because it needs to be faced, because otherwise that evolvement into higher frequencies is not happening, right? It is happening, and therefore the shit is coming up. So it's a weird contradiction, the yin yang of life, the polarity aspect of this dimension. And so in the background, there's a lot of problems and struggles. But then, as I said, this new moon is pretty wonderful, and, making something really beautiful, a beautiful manifestation of health and wellness into your life. But then also another wonderful aspect where you could really tap into the bravery in your heart, the love codes that can be received now, that can be expressed and lived now. So there's also a great promise for joy, pleasure, loving partnerships, right? So it's an intriguing lunation situation, and thank you for listening. So I hope you use this new moon for your advantage, for the advantage of all, and that you truly increase your spiritual awareness and your spiritual strength, and that really love overcomes anything. We shouldn't be stuck in the negativity and the disorder. It's just there to show us what's wrong, right? What needs to be dealt with, what needs to be transformed and alchemized. So we are never afraid. We are fearless, right? And this new moon in Virgo is a wonderful, again, manifestation, opportunity. How do you want your day-to-day life to look like? How do you want it to feel like? How can you improve it? This is that wonderful opportunity to check in with your body, mind, and spirit. We are leveling up energetically. We are leveling up as a soul. So part of that is the anger, right? The struggle, the discomfort. So all in all, it's a beautiful one. but contradictory maybe, but that's how we evolve. So happy new moon in Virgo, and I will see you in the next one, which is a beautiful full moon, lunation. Bye.